Hello, Alex. Welcome to Just Noise. If you would like to introduce yourself to all of our listeners today.
Hello, I'm Alex Apolline. Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I have a few get to know questions, some that have been sent in by some listeners. A little bit silly, but just for everyone to get to know you as a person. First one is your favourite way to eat a potato.
Oh, that's such a good one. I would say either roasted or as chips, like a really good skin on
Yes,
salty chip.
I
Yeah.
respect that. Very good answer. Your star sign?
Sagittarius.
Very nice. Are you a texter or a caller?
Um, Out of the two, I would say a caller, but really I'm a voice noter.
Me too. I love a voice note. Introvert or extrovert?
I would say extrovert.
Extrovert. And cats or dogs?
Oh, I love them both, but I'm really allergic to cats, so I would have to say dogs, but I love them anyway.
I get you. If you just want to give a little bit of an introduction into who Alex is, maybe like growing up, how you got into music. I think you had a little bit of a unconventional route, if I'm correct. So if you just want to go into that a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, so yeah, my journey to music has been a bit of a strange one. I grew up doing it as a kid. I was very much into musical theatre and writing my own songs. I used to busk, all of that sort of thing. But then, yeah, growing up, I guess there was a lot of pressure around me to be academic and yeah, not to really follow a creative career path. And yeah, I guess slowly as school went on, I kind of started letting go of my creative interests and was just studying all the time. And I actually went to do medicine for a couple of years. That was originally my career plan, was to be a doctor. So I did that for, yeah, 2 years, ended up dropping out. And yeah, kind of decided to sort of reconnect to the things I loved as a kid. Not in a great place leaving medicine, and yeah, was sort of trying to find the things that brought me joy. So I started doing acting again, and then I ended up moving to London to study psychology. Yeah, I've always been really interested in mental health and the mind and just people. Yeah, it was through that I went to Goldsmiths and was around a lot of people studying pop music, and it was the first time that I'd been around people who really took that seriously as
Yeah.
a career. And also, I learned that there was even a music industry. I truly thought that to become anything in music, you either had to be born into it or go on X Factor.
Mm.
I had no idea. I didn't even know what a producer was. I just, yeah, had no clue. I guess coming from a very small town outside of Glasgow, yeah, there was kind of not, it wasn't really accessible. It never really seemed like a career option. So, yeah, long story short, I started writing again just for myself as a kind of form of therapy and became obsessed and never stopped. And here I am.
That's really funny. You've got the same sort of pipeline of like psychology to music. That's exactly what I ended up doing.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I just finished a psychology degree, and then I was like, actually, there is
congrats.
this industry, which is love it. Just sort of
Amazing.
growing up, because I know you said you sort of did music for enjoyment. Like, who would you say were people that you really maybe have inspired you up until this day?
Ooh.
People that you really look up to?
Oh God, so many people for different reasons. But growing up, I think my first sort of entryway into the sort of singer-songwriter genre was Gabrielle Aplin.
Yeah.
She, yeah, absolutely was obsessed with her growing up. And yeah, I think vocally and yeah, in her songwriting really influenced me to yeah, start to write in that way. And then yeah, as I kind of started to develop my artist project and I guess the sound in the world I wanted to create, people like London Grammar, Florence the Machine, Kate Bush, Stevie Nicks. I think having those artists that have that really spacious cinematic sound and a kind of ethereal nature to their sonic world, I really, really love. And yeah, I think also just a lot of female powerhouses,
Yes,
that
very much so.
really can, yeah, create such an experience for the audience, like when performing on stage. That really inspires me to yeah, make big dramatic songs.
And leading on from that, other listener question, they asked, what are three projects that if you could only listen to those for the rest of your life, what would they be?
Oh my
Very
God,
difficult.
that's so hard. Does it need to be an album or it could be an EP or
EP, album, any project.
only three? Um, hmm, that's really difficult. I think it changes all the time with what I listen to at the
Yeah.
moment. But I would say one album that made such an impact on me and really inspired me that I think I would say it's one of my all-time favorite albums is 5 Seconds Flat, Lizzie McAlpine.
Yeah.
Love,
Amazing.
love. So that I would choose as one. Then probably London Grammar's first album as well. And you know who I've been obsessed with, I think, for the past year, who doesn't have an album out but has, yeah, some really great singles and an EP is Sydney Ross Mitchell.
Yes.
Yeah, love her. I think her lyricism is unreal and I love her production choices and yeah, I just think she's so cool.
I love it.
Yeah,
Lovely.
on repeat.
Now, just going into your EP, Tales of an Eldest Daughter, which you released recently. If you just want to give a general sort of overview of the themes of your EP and sort of what why you decided to make it is what it is.
For sure. So Tales of an Eldest Daughter, yeah, I think was had to be the first project that I would make. I think there's a lot of stories from my past that I needed to tell before, yeah, I kind of move on to the next chapter. And, as I grow and evolve as a person, I think my music is such a direct um representation of that. So yeah, the project actually I've been working on it for years and it's kind of had different forms and different iterations of it. I think there's a lot of songs I've written for it that ended up being replaced with other songs kind of as I was just developing my writing. So the EP itself, I guess, is about yeah, it's about the past and how it informs present. It's about being an eldest daughter, the pressures that I felt growing up. It's about the relationship to myself and to other people and how I think not having a great relationship with myself growing up really affected all of the different ways I would interact with people and the world around me. So yeah, there's heartbreak in there. There's, unhealthy kind of toxic relationship dynamics. It talks about familial relations. It talks about childhood, trauma. Um, yeah, how we just carry everything with us throughout our lives. And yeah, I guess it feels like to me, I kind of imagine it as a dark, stormy world out on a cliff, which is kind of where the visuals and stuff came in. And yeah, I just wanted it to be really emotionally charged and vulnerable and kind of take you away somewhere else. Yeah.
Would you say you're quite a reflective writer then, so sort of looking back on maybe past experience as opposed to where you are now, or do you, that's what it sort of sounds like from what you're saying, or do you sort of talk about current feelings as well?
I think a mix of the two. I think for that project, I definitely wanted to look to the past more. But these days, I feel like a lot of my writing is very much in the present. Like
Yeah.
what I'm going through now, I'm kind of writing about in sessions or at home. So yeah, a mix of the two, but definitely that one was more
Yeah,
reflective.
it's almost like a nice introduction, like as you said, to sort of tell those past stories as like a first project. I think that's a really lovely thing to have. And how would you say that like your inspiration comes to you? Do you is it just sort of experiences that you've had, or are you sort of inspired by physical media, other people's sort of works? How do you create essentially?
Whoa, what an interesting question. I I'm inspired by so many different things. I think my lived experience has to be number one.
Mm.
I think that's the way that I can write the most honestly and feels the most, yeah, true to me. And I think unless I've really experienced something or something kind of adjacent, I can't really, yeah, write about it with as much intention. And I think the best songs are the ones that feel the most real.
Mm.
Um, but I also, yeah, I think I'm really inspired by visual media, and I think that kind of bleeds itself into everything I do. I'm a big Pinterest girly, but I think through that I then find media that I can kind of go straight to the source and kind of yeah research different things or watch different films or yeah different like I don't know eras of fashion or culture. I'm really inspired by like the late 60s and early 70s in terms of fashion, but also the kind of romanticism of that time within music, the kind of way that music was and live shows were. And there's, I think, a lot of amazing parts of that. Also, a lot that is uh, glamorized and romanticized in current media, kind of depicting that time. I'm sure, going around on these tours was not all good things behind closed doors. But I think, yeah, there's kind of a freedom with music and a kind of a way of performing that, yeah, really inspires me. What else? Books for sure. I think, yeah, whether it's poetry or fiction, the way that other writers put experiences into words, into context. Yeah, I think I'm always maybe subconsciously picking up little nuggets of gold that I hear or read and kind of, yeah, storing those words and those titles. Like I'm always kind of noting down things on my notes app that I may be hearing conversation or saying conversation or see out there. And I think, yeah, I think creating can come from anywhere, but I think you're kind of the best, um, what's the word? Like a conductor of
Yeah,
these
your own
things. And I think it's nice to sort of absorb everything around you and then see what comes out. And that will kind of be the most, yeah, unique way of creating that you can have.
And would you say you tend to be quite like sort of change around things you're doing quite a lot? Are you generally quite quick with your creative process? Are you someone who will change things a lot? Are you someone who has some songs that are very, very natural and some that take a lot longer to work on? Like, how do you tend to experience that?
It definitely depends. I mean, generally, I would say for me, my best songs are the ones that come out quite quick and feel like they're just being channeled
Yeah.
from somewhere. They've just dropped down from the sky. Um, and I think also maybe in those situations, I'm the most clear about what I want to write about. And I think when I really know what it is I'm trying to say, then it just flows out. I think when I've not really quite figured out or maybe processed the situation, that's when I feel I can get a bit stuck and kind of end up agonizing over things a bit more. But I think on the flip side, there are some songs that I think I am slowly chipping away at. And I've sort of more recently decided to be less kind of throwaway with those songs that maybe don't come as easily and to kind of persevere with them, which is easier to do for me when I'm in a session co-writing with other writers and
Yeah.
producers because you're kind of there with a shared goal. You've got a set amount of time. You have to kind of sit and just really rack your brains and kind of figure out what it is and kind of, yeah, really fight to get the best lyrics and the best melodies that you can. Whereas when I'm writing at home on my own, I can be quite quick to give up on myself and to be
Yeah.
like, oh, like I just don't have it today. Like I've got a chorus, but I'll come back to it. But recently I have been coming back to those songs and sort of it's been a real lesson for me to trust myself and to kind of feel that those songs are good enough and worth my time to come back to and to believe in. Um, yeah, I think that's my kind of next era of writing has been, yeah, working a bit more just on my own and really trying to find that self-belief, which
Yeah.
sounds kind of crazy, but I find it very hard to believe that when I'm writing a song on my own on guitar that it's going to be good enough. Whereas when I'm in a room, maybe demoing it on the day, you come away with a product that sounds a bit more finished, so it's easier to kind of see the potential and see the future. But yeah, recently I've been really trying to fight the corner for those songs that I have been slowly chipping away at, and I think there's something really beautiful about that because when you end up with that finished song, there's been so much time and intention that's gone in, and I kind of know that each word and every choice that I've made has been, something I've spent lots of
Yeah.
time poring over. So I think, yeah, both in different ways, but up until recently, I have been, yeah, I'm usually quite a fast writer. I think the bulk of most of the songs that are on my EP probably wrote in like a couple of hours,
Wow,
maybe
yeah.
got the bulk of it in like an hour or two, and then kind of finessed it around there. But yeah, it's interesting. I think there's so many different ways to approach songwriting, which is why I love it so much. I think it's a practice and a craft that you're continuously, yeah, working at, and kind of finding different ways to approach. And yeah, whether you're on your own or working with other people, I think there's so much that can be learned from those different ways of working.
Yeah, for sure. It's really interesting, I think, something I always like to hear people talk about because everyone, I think, goes about it in such a different way, which maybe those who
Yeah.
don't make music wouldn't expect. But no, it's definitely interesting. It's nice that you're not giving up on those songs that do take a little bit longer. I also wanted to speak about, I know you mentioned before about your visuals, and that's something
Mm.
that I particularly really do love in your work. I
Oh,
think
thank
your
you.
image is just incredible. I think you've got it down so well. I want to talk a little bit about the museum because I know obviously you did
Mm.
the video for that. Talk me through your influences, sort of how that process was filming that video.
Yeah. So, oh, it was such a fun day filming that. It was also we filmed it in December 21st, and it was freezing cold, and
I
it was
bet.
50, like almost 50 mile per hour winds. Like not no like in all seriousness, like, it was literally insane, and it was like a red weather warning. We shouldn't have not been out. It was
Committed.
honestly, it was. I pretty much had hypothermia after. Like it was like the worst filming conditions ever. But it was only time we had to film, and I filmed it with my brother, who is an incredible videographer, cinematographer, and director. And we filmed it a couple of days before we drove up to Scotland to go back up for Christmas.
I was just asking about your influences of filming the video, which I think you've answered quite well, but also just your experience. So obviously, I think it's your first like big project that you had on film. So how you found that, and maybe sort of any if that's prompted any sort of ideas for future like visuals that you might want to do. Just your experience in creating sort of not just music, but also sort of the visual element as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, the museum video, I guess I'd had that visual in my head for a long time. I think even when I was writing the songs and producing them, I'd always pictured them living in that kind of world, very stormy, out in the open, with the sea, on like with cliffs. Like I'd always kind of had that idea in mind. Whenever I write music, especially with production or if I'm demoing in sessions, I feel like I reference the weather a lot. Like it's always something I kind of have in my mind. Um, sort of from the start, even maybe before all the songs are written, I kind of have this visual world in my head. Um, and yeah, we found the location. We filmed at Beachy Head down like the south coast of England. And I was out there in this silly little flimsy thin dress. I was absolutely frozen, like in between all the takes. I was having like my one of my best friends, Sophia, came to assist us on that day, and was wrapping me up in scarves and like drinking tea like throughout just to try and survive to get through, because it was honestly, it was horrible. It was really horrible, but I just had to commit to it and just tell the story. But it was, yeah, it was great fun. So we filmed, yeah, part of that on the cliff, and then the rest of it was in an abandoned house in Peckham in South London. Another great friend of mine, Isaac Stewart, came along to assist that day, and yeah, I kind of brought along all of these old items I'd collected from car boot sales and just my own like memory boxes, and kind of really wanted to, yeah, create that idea of a museum and of kind of having all of these relics of a person. Really what the song talks about, but kind of bringing that into a visual world. So we kind of shot between those two locations, and yeah, it was actually not till we were in the abandoned house on the first day that me and Lucas came up with the idea of having that transition from being in the house to the cliff. So yeah, it was all very kind of intuitive because we only had those 2 days there. We couldn't really go in and plan out things. We kind of just spent the morning marking the movement and how we'd kind of join these two places together. And I wanted to also reflect how the song transitions and how it kind of goes from being the internal world and the kind of fantasy to the external. So yeah, for me going into the outdoor location with on the cliffs with the sea, that was sort of to symbolize my emotional world and my internal world. And kind of as the song, I guess, grows in yeah, in its kind of the speed of it, the volume as a production kind of gets bigger and more emotional and reaches that kind of pinnacle moment that is kind of for me the point that I kind of let all the emotions flood out. And so it's really interesting sort of playing with the different locations and how we could use that to kind of best tell that story. Um, yeah, and I guess for future visuals, definitely taught me that I would not like to shoot in the middle of December again.
Learning curve for sure.
I prefer not to do that because it was really, really a bad time in terms of yeah, the enjoyment of everybody on set. We were all frozen to the core. But I think, yeah, I'm really excited for my next EP in the next era that I'm currently working on. And for me, it's going to be a bit of a contrast to the first EP. And I don't want to give too much away, but it feels like, yeah, the yin and the yang, if you will, or
Yes.
the moon and the sun. So yeah, this next EP is definitely going to be a lot warmer. Um, a lot, yeah. If the colors of EP1 were blue and sort of yeah darkness, this one is going to be a lot more light and sunshine. Um, yeah, so I'm really excited to play with sort of duality and how I feel like, yeah, it's like two different sides of me and two different sides of my world and experience. And I can't wait to just, yeah, keep sharing and growing that because, yeah, like we were saying earlier, I've kind of told a bit of the past and now there's the next chapter, the next era
Very
on
nice.
its way.
And I know also with the museum, you got some of your listeners to create their own museums. Do you want to talk about sort of the importance of like that listener interaction sort of in your creative world and having them share things as well?
Yes. Honestly, to me, that is everything. I feel so lucky to have connected with some just the loveliest people through through social media and through shows. And to me, the community around music is just is why we all do it, you know? Otherwise I would just sing songs in my bedroom and never put them out in the world. But I think there's something so special about yeah, these songs that I think once upon a time would have felt so insular and so kind of I felt so alone with these feelings and felt like there was something wrong with me or that I was, you know, too emotional or that nobody had ever felt these things. Bringing, yeah, putting them out in the world and for me realizing that everything is universal. We all experience the same things in different ways with, you know, in different colors to them, but really the kind of the root emotions I think as humans we all connect to and it's so nice to build a sense of solidarity and community through these things. So yeah, to me when I'm releasing music, it's the first thing I think about is how can I best help people connect to each other, like not only me connecting to an audience but you know people meeting each other and meeting like-minded people or making friends. So yeah, the museum of Apolline was an idea I had of like, oh, how can I make it more interactive and something that started naturally just happening on TikTok with as I was sharing the demo of the song and kind of teasing it before it came out was people were posting pictures of their museum, sharing their, you know, their relics and of people and their memory boxes and old letters and photos and sentimental items. And it was so nice to me to see that I was not the only one that was keeping all these things for years. But just also a really, yeah, sweet reflection of just what humans do when they love
Mm.
people. And so I thought, oh, how can I, you know, make that a little bit more permanent? Because obviously apps are very, you know, you scroll away and things are very fleeting. So yeah, I asked if people wanted to send me in videos or pictures of their museum and I can make it into a little interactive online exhibition, really, to kind of, yeah, add a little bit more permanence to it. Just be a place that people can, yeah, all put their stuff, and it's just nice to look through and kind of feel like you're part of something. So yeah, that's something I really want to continue growing. Although the museum is just one song, and I guess it's, of that EP and that kind of time, I've got some plans of how to, yeah, keep growing that and to, yeah, have it a space that everybody can connect to in different
Mm.
ways. And also to bring it into the real world too, because although I love things being online, and I'm so grateful that um we have these platforms that people can, find each other on. I'm always thinking about how can I bring it into the real tangible form, whether that's like shows or meetups or other things. So yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some of the hangouts you've done and they've looked just so creative as well, just the things you've got up to. Just
Oh,
looks wonderful. But
thanks.
I just think it must be so rewarding to have, where some of those songs have come from feelings of loneliness in the past, just have that connection with people. And it's something that I think is really, really shown. I think you're doing, yeah, such a great job with
Thank you
that.
so much. It's
Um,
honestly nuts, like, to think that that happens, you know?
yeah, no,
I
it
think it's just
really,
the best thing about music. Like, yeah.
I feel like it must just be so hard to process sometimes as well, just seeing like something that was created solely by yourself just then be related to by so many people. But I
Yeah.
just imagine that, there's probably no better feeling than that. As you said, the community, and obviously that is, one of the main reasons that music is made is for that
Yeah,
that
for being able
feeling
to
to
do
share,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it would be, so much less without that. Another really random question, a listener question. If your music was a scent, what scent would you say it would be? But then
Oh,
again, it may be different for like if you had different colors for past and future EP,
yeah.
maybe they've got different scents.
Well, for Tales of an Eldest Daughter, hmm, I think, God, that's such an interesting question. I've never really thought about music in terms of scent, but I think it would be something quite musky and woody.
That's exactly what I was
Maybe,
thinking.
yeah. Um, oh, yeah, I mean, in terms of just like any scents in the world, like the smell of like burning wood fires?
Yes,
Have a bit of that in there, and then maybe like a bit of sort of sea salt, sea air, and then yeah, maybe some floral notes,
very
maybe
nice.
a little bit of rose, maybe some bergamot.
I feel
That
like we're making a Tales of an Eldest Daughter perfume right now, like coming
what
soon.
a dream it would be. Maybe I should get my essential oils out. Maybe get crafting something. Um, yeah, I think along those lines.
Very
Um,
nice.
yeah.
And moving on, just to talk about a little bit about what you say your favorite parts of being an artist are, what you enjoy most, what is most rewarding.
I think playing shows. I just love playing shows so much, and I think it didn't used to be my favorite part. I mean, I think because I hadn't played a lot of shows,
Yeah,
I was just mainly just writing all the time. Writing is always like my truest love. Like I love the craft of songwriting. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. But I think of being an artist, like beyond a writer, for me, it has to be the shows. It has to be, yeah, connecting with people. And I just love it. Honestly, if I could tour all the time, I mean, touch wood one day, like,
the dream.
let the gal go on tour. Yeah, I just love it. I love visiting new places, meeting new people. Yeah, just creating that experience for people. I love the feeling of when I'm in the emotion of the song and then talking to people after. I love the whole. I mean, I love personally going to shows. Like I go to shows a lot, and I'm obsessed with, yeah, with live music and the kind of feeling of being in that audience and everyone around you. Yeah, also loves this artist and this music, and I think there's something so special about it. And I think as well after the pandemic, going from not having live music for a while and then being able to go again, just I think really just made me appreciate it even more. And yeah, I think just one of the most special things that we do as humans. And I think we have been doing for centuries in different forms. And I think it's just such a natural, yeah, way to come together and to feel like, you know, there's something bigger,
Yeah.
There's, yeah, the experiences or emotions or, yeah, just that you're kind of escaping from, real life for a little bit, which I think we all need. The world's a really horrible place right now, and we're so lucky to be able to make music and
Mm.
to have these experiences that a lot of people at the moment aren't getting to enjoy. So yeah, I think there's something that feels very spiritual about live shows, playing shows, going to shows. So for me, that's the best part, and just getting to meet people and
Yeah.
meet strangers that then aren't strangers anymore.
Faces to names.
Yeah.
And I saw your EP show that obviously you did in May, and I think it just really was exactly what you said just there. The community that I could even just see just through videos that I saw from there looked absolutely amazing.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
Another question, someone's asked, what do you think about when you're performing?
Oh, I mean, when I feel like I've done a good performance, I feel like I'm telling
Mm,
that story. I'm reliving it in a way. And yeah, when I feel like I've performed well, it's when I've really been able to connect to what I've written about. Sometimes I find it hard to because I think there's like a protective layer of I don't want to get too emotional on stage. Like I want to
mm.
still be able to sing and do my job.
Ideally, yeah.
But I think there's a really nice sweet spot where I can tap into that kind of well of experience and emotion, um, whilst being able to, think about the technical parts of singing and performing and making sure I'm, holding the crowd and holding that space for people and connecting. But yeah, ideally I'm not thinking.
Yeah.
Ideally I'm just in it. Sometimes I have been thinking and I'm thinking like, oh God, like, does that sound good? And I'm thinking about technical stuff and I'm thinking about, that high note that's coming, or I'm thinking like, oh God, I better not trip over my water bottle that's on the stage. Like sometimes I am thinking,
Yeah.
but yeah, the best shows for me are where I'm not in my head and I'm just in my body and in the moment. And yeah, I just kind of lose that voice in my head for a bit. That's the ideal scenario that I'm always hoping that is going to be. And the best shows feel like that.
Do you feel quite present when you're performing, or do you feel like it's something that you get to the end of your set and you're like, how did that just happen? You know, how sort of when people drive and they say, how did I get home? Do you think it's sort of how do you experience that?
Oh, I would say I do feel quite present. Again, I think it varies on the show and how I'm feeling. And yeah, because I definitely had, a couple of shows where I felt a bit in my head and not like able to be fully present. But these days, recently, I think just the more I've done, the more comfortable I feel on stage. And yeah, more recently, I would say I feel the most present in my life when I'm on stage and
Yeah.
when I'm performing because I'm just in the moment. I'm just focusing on what's happening right now, the people in front of me, the songs, the stories. Yeah, I mean, it still does go by fast. Yeah, it does go by in a flash, but yeah, I would say I feel pretty present, which is really nice actually
Yeah, I'm
to
sure.
to finally feel like I've got there. Because I think yeah, it took some time to be able to yeah, really just not be overthinking the whole time.
Yeah. So you'd say nerves is something that you maybe experience a lot more with performing and maybe less so now?
I mean, I'm always nervous before a show. I always got that adrenaline going. And yeah, whoever I'm with backstage, they'll know that I just kind of pace around a bit and I'm a little bit frantic. Like I can't really hold a conversation because I'm sort of just yeah, getting in the zone. Probably will sit down and do some breathing at one point. So yeah, I don't think the nerves will ever go. And I think it's also I enjoy that part. I think it's nice to be a bit nervous and to have some adrenaline that you can then channel on stage. But um I'm never really nervous when I get on stage, unless I mean, yeah, maybe like years ago when I was just starting to do shows, I was a bit more nervous on stage or just a bit more uncomfortable like in my body and knowing how to letting myself take up space and
Yeah.
kind of be on stage because I think you have to be comfortable in yourself and your own skin to be able to really have stage presence and to be able to create um a show and an experience. But I think just time and a lot of practice means that I'm not nervous on stage anymore, which is nice. I mean, yeah, still definitely got the adrenaline going, but not nerves in a way that I think inhibits me from
Yeah.
doing the
And there's
thing.
always a good level of adrenaline as well because, it sort of
Yeah.
crosses over with excitement and, passion and
Yeah,
wanting things to go
exactly.
well. So, yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
if you were like walking up like nothing mattered, I think that would be something completely different in itself as well. Another thing I wanted to ask, maybe like the flip side, any struggles that you found sort of creating, being an artist, whether that just be individual sort of struggles you've had or industry struggles, something that, you know, you face.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I think the biggest struggle and barrier for most artists, independent and not, I think, is financial. Like it just is really expensive to make music,
Mm.
and especially to make music in the way that you want to, right? So like beyond even the production, but mixing, mastering, then the marketing, the visuals, there's so much that goes into it, and especially if you're working with other creatives on video or design, styling, like you want to pay everyone fairly, and it's um I think obviously it's great to have friends and to draw upon favors, but I think that's really hard, to be able to, I think, do your vision justice, especially when you're a small artist and just starting out and you've got all these dreams and all these things you want to create, but are limited by funds, which is a struggle, but I think can also be um a strength sometimes, and that you're kind of forced to be more creative and a little bit more innovative about what you're making. And yeah, I mean the industry itself, it just is hard right now. I think there's so many people creating, which is amazing, and it's more accessible now than ever to put your music out there, but there's also means that there's a lot of noise online, and it's really hard to kind of break through and to be heard when you're fighting against algorithms and all the classic stuff. And I think, it can be really hard to build and to grow beyond that. I think there can be strategy and stuff like that involved, but there's also a lot of luck.
A lot of
And
luck.
and I think it can be hard when it feels like there's a lot that isn't in your control and you're doing everything that is in your control, but yet you feel like you're just treading water, not really getting anywhere. So yeah, I think I struggle a lot with the industry side of things. I think it's just hard when you want to continue growing and to get your stuff out there, but it just, I don't know, I just tell myself that it takes time, and it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I think there's so many artists recently that have really broken through that are a testament to that, putting in your 10,000 hours, and it takes
100%.
10 years to be an overnight success. And I think reconnecting to why I'm doing this in the first place, and yeah, the craft of writing, what it feels like to play a show, the people that do connect with it, whether it's two people or 200 people or however many, it's still impacting someone's life. And I think, really remembering those things and that being the kind of the core motivation, I think is the only way to kind of keep going and to not really get down about it. Yeah, because it is tough. I think everyone's grafting, everyone's struggling, but I don't know. There's nothing else I would be choosing to pursuing. Like
Yeah.
I've tried other things, and
Not for you.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's always, I think a lot of artists and writers with the way things are right now, with how little people are earning from streaming and even touring and things, I think for a lot of people it's a constant questioning of, is this the right path? Should I be pursuing something, you know um more stable, more financially secure. We're all humans, all got rent to pay, all that kind of thing. But um, yeah, I think if we didn't love it, if we weren't obsessed with it, then we wouldn't keep persevering. And I think having people around you that are also on that same journey really helps. To have, yeah, support and to have, yeah, reminders, even if they're small, of why, yeah, why we're all doing this and why it's important for the world that people are doing this, even if the structures around us maybe aren't always serving us in the way that would be nice.
I think, yeah, that's something that you said that I think really stuck out to me as well, is that community that you said of like favors for each other. And there really is such a world of artists that are really, you really see it as well, sort of looking out for each other.
Yeah,
Because it's hard and everyone knows it's hard, but they've sort of on that path together because as you said, like sort of going back to what you said earlier about having that belief. And I guess that's so really important when, things maybe aren't going how you wish they would be.
yeah,
But having that belief in yourself and in your peers sort of on that same journey as you, I think is really important. And I think it's everyone sees it really, don't they? 'Cause it's yeah, it's a
it's
really nice
true.
community.
There's such a lovely community of artists and writers, all making, similar worlds of music and yeah, everyone's really kind and supportive, and I feel very lucky to yeah, I've met so many amazing, talented people who have now become some of my best friends. And honestly, without having those people around, it would, yeah, it would be really hard. I don't know if I would have like gotten here,
Mm,
honestly, because yeah, it's so important just to have people that you can talk to and that really get it. And that all, lift each other up. And also, through the hard times, but also the good times, like
yes.
we all get to, whether it's playing shows together or doing meetups together or whatever it is, I think it's, yeah, really, really nice to see.
Yeah,
It's
everyone
great.
with their little side hustles as well. It's like, it
Oh,
just
yeah.
really shows the dedication. I wanted to talk about future plans. So I know you've got your Coco show. Tell me about the
Yeah.
process of finding out about that, sort of how you're
Oh my,
feeling.
oh my God. Yeah, it was crazy. Like when I got the text from my manager, I honestly, I think I screamed. I think I was in the house alone. I literally screamed. I can't believe it. It's next week. Yeah, biggest show I've ever played. And yeah, Amos Lee is such an incredible songwriter, and it's, yeah, such an honor to be opening for him. I'm so excited. Um, yeah, I literally can't wait. And it's just like I was saying earlier, it's just my dream to be playing shows as much as I
Yeah.
can and playing. I love playing venues that, have that space and that room around. I'm so excited to be on a stage like that and to really be able to, um, yeah, play these songs in a bigger way.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking about your voice in a bigger room, and I think it will be such a beautiful show.
Thank
I
you.
think as well, I think there's obviously going to be sort of a sense of validation that you get from getting, these opportunities, things that you've been really dreaming for, and I think that must be so lovely to get those, and it gives you sort of a push to keep going and that you're on the right track. Are there any other upcoming goals that you have, things that you dreams or things that you're working towards?
Yeah, I mean, within music generally, like
Yeah,
completely, or
take it
I
how you
mean,
will.
my, I would say my like goals within music coming up. There's no time scale on this. I wish, I wish I knew the time scale, but I would love to write an album, and there's definitely inklings of one beginning. I don't know when it'll be or what form it'll take, but it's definitely always been a dream of mine to have a larger body of work that yeah, tells a story in a greater, in a more detailed way. So I'm really excited for the day that comes out, whenever that might be in the coming years. I'd also love to do my own tour. I mean, yeah, playing my first headline earlier this year was honestly one of the best days of my life, and it just mind blowing because I've been very lucky. I've done a few support tours and shows
Yeah.
and yeah, played a lot of gigs over the years, but yeah, never my own one where people were coming really, I guess, just
You.
to see me. Like that is bonkers still for me to kind of process. So yeah, doing that in some different cities, and I think just be able to meet people that weren't able to come to that show, that are around Europe or America or beyond, Australia, like all over. I would
Crazy.
love to be able to visit these countries one day. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully I'm able to do that at some point.
Are you well traveled, or would that be?
I've done a wee bit of traveling when I was younger, when I had my mentee B drop out of medicine vibes. I did a bit of traveling. My dad grew up in Australia, so I'd always dreamed of going there. So I've yeah, been around Australia and New Zealand, backpacking on my own. But I've yeah not been back there since, and yeah, it'd be crazy to place it over there one
Yeah.
day. But
Nice
I've
to
yeah,
see it in a completely different perspective as well.
exactly,
Yeah, stage of life.
exactly. I've never even been to see a show there, so that would be really cool. And there's so many places in Europe I've never been, so I think playing a show would be a great excuse to get to see a bit of the city as well.
Exactly. Yes.
Though I mean, I think when you're on tour, there's probably not a lot of time, but I would try and plan it so I can at least yeah get a little snippet of
Yeah. You have to
of
have like a bucket list of
yeah.
like, yeah, things to do.
Exactly. I'll need like top cafes and
Yeah,
shops from each city
for
from
sure.
fans. I'll like get all the recommendations, make a spreadsheet. I'm taking them off.
Thank you so much for joining me. It's been so lovely to chat to
Thank you
you. I've
so
had such a
much.
nice
It's been
time.
so nice. Thank you for indulging in my yapping.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been lovely to chat and thank you for all your questions. They've been so interesting.